It was just a tap. Stop being dramatic, my father said, standing over my hospital bed with an expression of irritation rather than concern. My stepmother Jennifer nodded in agreement, her perfectly manicured hand resting on my father's shoulder. Marcus would never hurt you intentionally. My name is Olivia Parker, and at 24, I lay in a hospital bed with a broken leg, 3 cracked ribs, and a concussion, all because my stepbrother Marcus accidentally hit me with his car in our driveway. He was just backing out, Jennifer insisted, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. You must have walked behind the car without looking. She'd been married to my father for 5 years, and in that time, her son Marcus had made my life increasingly unbearable. I wanted to argue, to tell them how Marcus had reversed suddenly just as I was walking to my car, how I'd seen his smirking face in the side mirror before impact. But my head was pounding, and the pain medication made everything fuzzy. We should go, my father said, checking his watch. Marcus is probably worried sick. I almost laughed at the irony. Marcus worried? The same Marcus who threatened me just yesterday about keeping my mouth shut regarding what I discovered on his laptop. As they left, a new nurse entered, checking my vitals. Her name tag read Sarah, and she had kind eyes that noticed everything. Those your parents? She asked, adjusting my IV. Father and stepmother, I corrected weakly. They think I'm exaggerating. Sarah's expression darkened slightly. The trauma team doesn't think you're exaggerating. Dr. Bennett wants to speak with you once you're more alert. I dozed off, the medication pulling me under. But my dreams were filled with flashing images. Marcus's face in the mirror, the sudden backward lurch of his car, the sickening crunch as I hit the ground. I woke up to voices in my room. The impact pattern is inconsistent with a slow-speed accident, a male voice was saying. And the bruising suggests she was hit at least twice. I opened my eyes to see a tall man in a white coat, Dr. Bennett, according to his ID, speaking with Sarah. They both turned when they noticed I was awake. Miss Parker, Dr. Bennett said, approaching my bed. How are you feeling? Like I got hit by a car, I attempted a weak joke. He didn't smile. Miss Parker, I've treated many vehicle pedestrian accidents. The injuries you sustained, he paused, choosing his words carefully. They're not consistent with someone accidentally backing into you. I felt tears welling up in my eyes. Finally, someone believed me. There's something else, Sarah added, stepping forward. The security camera in the hospital parking lot captured your stepbrother's arrival. He was laughing, joking with friends in his car. Not exactly the behavior of someone who'd just accidentally injured their sister. Dr. Bennett sat on the edge of my bed. Ms. Parker, Olivia, we need to know if there's anything you want to tell us. Anything that might explain why this happened. I thought about Marcus's laptop, about what I found when he'd asked me to help fix it. The photos, the messages, the evidence of what he'd been doing to other girls at his college. How he cornered me yesterday, his voice low and threatening. If you tell anyone what you saw, you'll regret it. My voice cracked. I found something on his laptop. Something bad. He threatened me yesterday when I confronted him about it. Dr. Bennett's expression hardened. Nurse Sarah, please get Officer Martinez from security and contact the police. Ask for Detective Wilson specifically. She handles sensitive cases. Wait, I said, panic rising. My father won't believe me. He never does. And Marcus, he'll know I told. Olivia. Dr. Bennett's voice was firm but gentle. Your neighbor's dashboard camera caught the whole incident. They brought in the footage this morning after seeing the ambulance. We've already viewed it. This was no accident. This was attempted vehicular assault. I felt the world shift slightly. There was proof. Actual proof. But that's not all, Sarah added. Your stepbrother made a mistake. He bragged about it on social media, sent messages to his friends about teaching his nosy stepsister a lesson. One of his friends, apparently with a conscience, forwarded everything to the hospital's patient advocacy department. For the first time since the impact, I felt something other than pain and fear. I felt hope. You're safe here, Dr. Bennett assured me. We flagged your room for restricted access. Only authorized medical personnel allowed. And once Detective Wilson arrives, we can discuss what you found on that laptop. As if on cue, my phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. Hope you learned your lesson about keeping secrets. Next time you won't get off so easy. I handed the phone to Dr. Bennett, who read the message, his jaw tightening. Save that, he said to Sarah, who was already documenting it. Detective Wilson will want to see everything. For 5 years, I'd watched my father choose Jennifer and Marcus over me, dismiss my concerns, ignore the escalating incidents. But now, lying in his hospital bed, I realized something had shifted. I wasn't alone anymore, and Marcus's accident was about to backfire spectacularly. Get some rest, Dr. Bennett said, standing. The next few days might be challenging, but we've got your back. As I drifted off again, I heard him speaking quietly to Sarah. Contact its security. We need to make sure all the evidence is preserved. Something tells me this is just the tip of the iceberg. He had no idea how right he was. Detective Wilson arrived later that afternoon, her presence filling my hospital room with a quiet authority. She wasn't what I expected, middle-aged with gentle eyes but a sharp gaze that missed nothing. Let's talk about what you found on Marcus's laptop, she said, pulling up a chair. Take your time. I took a deep breath, wincing at the pain in my ribs. He asked me to help fix some software issues last week. While I was working on it, I found a hidden folder. Inside were photos of girls from his college. Private photos they didn't know were taken. Messages about sharing them, threatening the girls if they didn't. My voice trailed off, but Detective Wilson nodded understanding. We've already seized the laptop. Your stepbrother made quite a scene when the officers showed up at your house. A knock at the door interrupted us. Sarah poked her head in. Sorry to interrupt, but you both need to see this. She entered, holding a tablet. Marcus just went live on social media. Well, see for yourself. The video showed Marcus, red-faced and angry, ranting to his followers. My psycho stepsister is making up lies about me. She walked behind my car on purpose to frame me. She's just jealous because Dad loves me more. Turn it off, Detective Wilson said quietly, making notes. We've seen enough. This will help our case. There's more, Sarah added. Remember those friends he bragged to? They're coming forward. Apparently, he's been boasting about teaching girls lessons for months. The hospital has received 3 calls already from other victims. I felt sick, but also relieved. The truth was finally coming out. Just then, my father burst into the room, his face twisted with anger. What is the meaning of this? The police just ransacked our house, took Marcus's computer. Mr. Parker, Detective Wilson stood, her voice steel-wrapped in silk. Your son is under investigation for multiple serious crimes. I suggest you lower your voice in this medical facility. This is ridiculous. Olivia obviously made up these accusations because she's jealous of Marcus. Mr. Parker, Dr. Bennett's voice cut through my father's tirade as he entered the room. I have the dashboard camera footage clued up on my tablet. Would you like to watch your son deliberately reverse into your daughter multiple times? My father's face paled. That's not, he wouldn't. He did, Detective Wilson stated flatly. And the evidence suggests this isn't the first time he's deliberately harmed someone. Now you can continue denying reality, or you can start asking yourself why your daughter was afraid to tell you what she found. The look on my father's face shifted from anger to confusion to something I'd never seen before. Fear. Olivia, he whispered, why didn't you come to me? Would you have believed me? I asked quietly. You never did before. The silence that followed was deafening. Sir, Sarah interjected gently, there's a waiting room down the hall where you can process this. Dr. Bennett needs to examine Olivia now. As my father was led out, Detective Wilson turned back to me. We'll need a formal statement, but not today. Rest, you're safe now. We have officers posted outside, and Marcus is being brought in for questioning. After they left, Dr. Bennett checked my injuries, his movements gentle but his expression troubled. Your x-rays showed some older fractures that never properly healed. Want to tell me about those? I thought about the times Marcus had accidentally pushed me downstairs, the playful shoves that sent me into walls, all the incidents my father and Jennifer had dismissed. They wouldn't have believed me then either, I said softly. He nodded, understanding. Well, they'll have to believe the medical evidence now. And Olivia, the hospital's victim advocacy team has already been assigned to your case. You'll have support every step of the way. Later that evening, as I watched the sunset through my window, Sarah brought me some tea. Your father's still in the waiting room, she mentioned. He's been making calls. I overheard him talking to a divorce lawyer. I must have looked surprised because she smiled. Apparently, he found some interesting messages on your stepmother's phone about knowing what Marcus was doing to those girls. The whole house of cards is falling down. I sipped my tea, letting that sink in. For years, I carried the weight of Marcus's escalating behavior alone, watching my father choose his new family over the truth. Now, in the space of 24 hours, everything had changed. My phone buzzed, another message, but this time from one of Marcus's victims. Thank you for being brave enough to speak up. We're all coming forward now. You're not alone. Sarah read the message over my shoulder and squeezed my hand. She's right, you know. You're not alone anymore. For the first time since the accident, I felt tears roll down my cheeks. Not from pain or fear, but from relief. The truth was finally coming to light, and Marcus's carefully constructed world of threats and intimidation was crumbling. Dr. Bennett's words echoed in my mind. This was just the tip of the iceberg. But this time, I wasn't facing it alone. 3 months later, I sat in a courthouse, my leg finally free of its cast, listening as Marcus pleaded guilty to multiple charges. Detective Wilson had built an airtight case, combining the dashboard camera footage, social media evidence, and testimony from over a dozen victims who'd finally found the courage to come forward. Jennifer wasn't in attendance. She fled the state when evidence emerged of her helping cover up Marcus's crimes. My father sat beside me, a changed man from the one who'd stood in my hospital room dismissing my injuries. 10 years, Detective Wilson told me after the sentencing. No possibility of early release and mandatory counseling. The judge made an example of him. I watched as Marcus was led away, no longer the smirking, confident bully who tried to kill me, but a pale, frightened young man facing the consequences of his actions. You did this, Sarah whispered from my other side. She'd taken personal time off to support me through the trial. You broke the cycle. My father cleared his throat. Olivia, he began, his voice rough with emotion. I know I've said this before, but I'm so sorry. I should have protected you. I should have seen. Yes, you should have, I agreed quietly. But you're here now. The changes in my life since that day in the hospital had been profound. The victim advocacy team had helped me find a therapist who specialized in family trauma. My father, after filing for divorce from Jennifer, had started attending counseling sessions with me, slowly rebuilding the trust he'd shattered. Dr. Bennett had become a regular visitor during my recovery, checking on me long after I'd left the hospital. Sometimes he told me, it takes one person believing you to change everything. Outside the courthouse, reporters waited with cameras. Marcus's case had gained national attention, sparking discussions about family violence and the importance of believing victims. I'd received hundreds of messages from others sharing similar stories, thanking me for speaking up. Ms. Parker, one reporter called out. How do you feel about the sentence? I paused, considering my response. Justice isn't just about punishment, I said finally. It's about breaking silence. About standing up and saying this isn't okay, even when the people who should protect you look the other way. My father flinched beside me, but kept his hand steady on my shoulder. Back home, my new home, a peaceful apartment far from the house where Marcus had terrorized me, I found an unexpected delivery. It was a package from the college where Marcus had found his victims. Inside was a formal letter. Dear Ms. Parker, your courage in coming forward has led to significant changes in our campus security and reporting procedures. We would be honored if you would consider speaking at our upcoming Student Safety Symposium. Sarah, who'd come over to celebrate the end of the trial, read the letter over my shoulder. You should do it, she said. Your story could help so many others. Our story, I corrected her. I wouldn't be here without you and Dr. Bennett believing me that day. My phone buzzed. A message from Detective Wilson. Check the news. Jennifer was just arrested in Florida. Apparently, there were other victims before you. The truth always comes out eventually. I thought about the scared, silent girl I'd been just 3 months ago, watching Marcus swagger around with impunity while my father and Jennifer dismissed every red flag. That girl was gone, replaced by someone stronger, someone who'd found her voice. You know, my father said, setting down his coffee, I'm selling the house. Too many bad memories. The realtor thinks it'll go quickly, and I'd like you to have half the proceeds, to help build whatever future you choose. It wasn't about the money. I'd already refused his previous attempts at financial amends. But something in his voice, the genuine desire to make things right, touched me. How about we donate it? I suggested. Set up a foundation to help other victims of family violence, give them the support system I finally found. The smile that broke across his face was real, perhaps the first genuine one I'd seen since before he met Jennifer. I think that's perfect. Later that night, after everyone had left, I stood on my balcony, breathing in the cool evening air. My phone was full of messages, from other survivors sharing their stories, from the advocacy team with updates on the foundation plans, from Dr. Bennett checking in. The last message was from Sarah. Remember what you told that reporter today about breaking silence? You did more than break silence, you shattered it. And the echoes are still spreading. She was right. What started with a dashboard camera and a brave nurse had grown into something bigger than me, bigger than Marcus's crimes. It had become a reminder that the truth, no matter how long buried, eventually finds its way to light. And sometimes that light shows others the way forward too.